He's Matt Hamilton. I'm Jim Rutledge. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. And we have a Siding Unlimited poll question. You can chime in on the Carbless Talk and text line. List is more, 844-770-3776. Our poll question today is we are asking you after the loss to the Chicago Bears, what's the biggest regular season issue for the Packers heading into the playoffs? Right now, 56% of you say slow starts. Jordan Love only at 6%, coaching at 22%, and defense late in games at 16%.
I mean, the slow start thing is real. It kind of, for me, a little bit falls under coaching as well. That's game plan. That's execution, which, to me, falls in line with discipline. And a team's discipline is a direct correlation to the coach's attitude, in my eyes. So, those are kind of like a little 1A, 1B. But the slow start, like, sure, it's if you get in a fight, you want to punch him in the mouth first. So, like, every football game is a fight. You're trying to punch him in the mouth first. And when was the last time the Packers scored on the opening drive? And then if it was recently, it couldn't have been multiple times this season.
Well, and
too many times. I bet they scored on the opening drive less than 5 times out of 17 games.
And to add to that, the way that Jordan Love plays and the way that the offense has worked this year and the way that Matt LaFleur likes to run things, they are not an offense that really wants to be a come-from-behind offense. I know they open it up in the fourth quarter, and you can look at those stats, like, oh, look what happens in the fourth quarter and another throw.
That's out of necessity.
And that's over the course of one quarter. If you had to do that 4 quarters, defense is playing for it more, and then you're going to be more likely to throw interceptions. A balanced offense is the way to do it. And I do think that a balanced offense gives the Packers the best chance to win with Jordan Love. But to your point, if they don't get points right away and get in front of things, then they fall back, and then they have to play in a way that they're not comfortable with. If they get ahead, the defense then can play better because the defense is still designed to stop the run, and we talked about this. They have to blitz to stop the run, which opens up the play action, which allows them to get burned on the play action. The best teams with play action in the league right now, which probably be Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Detroit, all teams the Packers have lost to because if you have to sell out to stop the run, when you do that play action, unless you get home to the quarterback, you got someone running wide open. And the Packers have faced a lot of that. And then if you fall behind, now you're asking Jordan Love to go be Aaron Rodgers. And at this point in his career, Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers, good and bad, but I mean prime Aaron Rodgers. So those are the issues that this team has. I'm not saying that Jordan Love can't get there. I'm not saying the Packers can't get hot. The Packers going to win the Super Bowl seems a bit far-fetched now because this season it does win 3 games on the road to go to the Super Bowl.
Good teams.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, that feels impossible. Could they win 1? Absolutely.
No.
They have obviously
not against Philly.
They have a chance to do it. I would say, look, the line basically says it's about a 40% chance the Packers win. Obviously, Vegas believes that Jalen Hurts is going to play, too.
Is there a number on it yet?
5.5 is last I've seen. I think it moved a little bit because of that's
smash the Eagles at this point.
844-770-3776. That's the Carbless Talk and text line. List is more. You can chime in on our poll question. And we are asking you what's the biggest regular season issue for the Packers heading into the playoffs. Slow starts, coaching, Jordan Love, or defense in late games. We have Ryan, our psychedelic advisor, on the phone. Ryan, what's up?
The biggest problem that the Packers have in games is their last game of the season. Sorry, that was mean.
Waka.
I did call in and let Kyle Wallace know because he won money because the Bears won. And I also let Benny know that I was holding his beads that he sent me, and that was good luck for the Bears. So thank you, Benny. And then I sang, "I'm not here looking for trouble. I'm just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle." And then I hung up on him. It was great. They all hated me for it.
Good job. Appreciate it. Yes.
All right.
We appreciate you calling in. So
yeah,
thank you. One of my other issues right now, like we had our last caller was talking about how our wide receivers aren't open and they were last year. All the to me, it feels like defenses are playing a lot more man defense. And last year we were torching the zone. It wasn't man D. They're finding soft spots in the zone, and that's why we looked wide open oftentimes. This might come back to this whole idea that the Packers, we have 3 number 1s. We have 3 number 3s that aren't good enough to separate from number 1 and number 2 corners.
I love that whole. I mean,
It
we have
hurts
Alex
my heart to
we
say
have
this.
Alex Strouf talking about they might have 4 number 1s. Everyone is talking about. Heck, Bo Melton's good.
Dontavian Wicks is going to be the next Devontae Adams.
Christian Watson.
Romeo Dobbs is a security blanket for Jordan Love.
Jaden Reed. I mean, it's
Jaden Reed, the gadget player. He's Tyreek Hill 2.0.
And
I just made that
Trade
one
for Tyreek? Trade him for Tyreek?
No.
So one thing
He wants out.
we can talk more about this as it goes along.
He doesn't want to play in the cold, and we've seen him play in the cold. It ain't pretty.
Wants to
I
play
always-
for a champion, though.
I always say going against the grain is risky and not usually the smart thing. You know who doesn't win Super Bowls? The youngest team in the NFL. You usually need some veteran leadership in that roster. You know who doesn't win Super Bowls? Teams without number 1 wide receivers who've gone through this. It could be the tight end. It could be someone.
Right.
But, like, Mahomes has got Kelsey.
Right.
I mean, you have Tom Brady had Wes Welker. It doesn't have
He
to
had
be a
Gronk.
stud. He had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez.
Edelman.
Randy Moss for a season. Now they lost that one, but I mean, Aaron Hernandez was a good football player.
He's a number
He was
2
a
tight end, though.
He was killer.
He was really good.
He was
though.
good, but like we bring him up like, remember Aaron Hernandez? He was behind Gronk.
No,
Like
they
he
ran
had
a lot
good.
of two. They ran a lot.
They ran a lot of 2 tight end
Fair
sets.
enough. But one stat I wanted to throw out to you guys about this quickly.
Now I gotta get.
Do you
there.
know
I gotta
where
get the stats? Go ahead.
Jordan Love's EPA per pass attempt against man coverage ranks? And that's EPA, the stat of like expected, like basically like how above average are you with like your value of pass attempts against man coverage? I believe he's 32nd in the NFL.
Against man coverage.
Against man. Against zone, I listened to the Athletic Football Show with Robert Mays, and he had these stats. He said he's 5th in the NFL in EPA per pass against zone coverage.
Right. And I think that's a little bit to what I was saying. Like,
Exactly.
I might be onto something that they are playing more man. It kind of looks like the league is playing more man D this year.
I think any team that plays the Packers right now is just going to play man.
Well, I mean, I watched the Viking Lions game last night.
The Lions
and the
played a lot
Lions
of
played
man.
man
Oh,
D.
same.
They were just like, all right, let's go.
The
Like, you'd think a team that decimated would play a little zone and not that defense.
The Vikings have mixed it up because I remember Jordan Love said for the Viking game, "Hey, we were surprised with how much man they came out with." Now on the reverse, Caleb Williams the week before said he was surprised with how much zone they were running. So they very much changed their scheme up to who they're playing.
Right.
So to Ryan's point, there's something they're seeing. Jordan Love against good teams when he gets pressure makes mistakes,
Can't throw against man.
and man is an issue for him, which is
Well, it's also not necessarily that he can't throw against man. It's that the receivers just
get
don't
open.
get open.
yes.
Right.
And
then
that's
he
the problem.
holds it, and then sometimes
What's he
it's
supposed
just
to
like,
do? Just
right.
throw it in the back of guys?
Well, then Coach LaFleur maybe outlets or get it out shorter.
Well,
like what? 'Cause he's going to
remember-
finish what I was saying. He holds it, and then shoots the home run. And then that's where either sometimes it's a deep ball to Watson, or they make a great play, but sometimes it's an interception. He's not taking the layups
At
when the
least you're
guys aren't getting open.
minimizing the damage if it's a deep interception.
Now,
True, but he should
I know
be
it's
getting the ball out quicker.
but at the same time,
to-
is that his fault or is that Matt LaFleur's fault?
I'm
I
going to
don't
go
know.
a little bit on LaFleur. Like, when
usually the quarterback
how
holds
many
the ball, it's on the
weeks
quarterback.
does he need to see
Because if nobody's
teams-
open, he's got to do something with it.
So
and
Ryan,
he can't run.
That stat on man versus zone had to have been something that was at least glaringly obvious 6 weeks ago or more.
I'd assume any defense who's watching them on film right now, the Packers, sees this. They
Right.
don't need the stats.
So for me, like, how did the Packers used to always beat man? And the obvious one to me, it's the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams back shoulder pass. Like,
Get open.
do it. Like, it's a pass that, you know, you're throwing it to a spot only your guy can catch it. It's either an incomplete pass or only your guy can get it. But we've got there is an issue with play calling a little bit right now. 4th and 3 and you run an end around, you need to be going north and south, not east to west.
And the Bears
That was
knew that
oh
end
my
around was coming.
Gosh,
like,
that was so
they
he like
sold
called
out
him
for it.
over.
Yeah,
too.
they sold out for that.
Like, Jordan Love called the motion over, and it looked like if he had just handed it off to Jacobs or whoever the back was at the time, it looked like it was good for at least 2, and he falls forward for maybe 3. That end around, you're starting 3 yards. It's basically a 4th and 5 at that point because that's when he's getting the ball and he's running east to west. He's got no head of steam going forward. that was a joke.
That end around was very much how the Bears' screens became towards the end of that game, where Packers knew it was coming and it was getting obnoxious. But that end around, the Bears they knew that was the call.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if LaFleur has a tell in that situation, but Kyler Gordon, remember, he sniffed it out. He's not the one that made the tackle, but he's the one that ate the first blocks, and then there was 2 Bears sitting right there. Reed had nowhere to go.
Right.
So there's a lot there, but Jordan Love does have a holding onto the ball and then throwing it deep problem.
And again, that's because in man, everybody looks covered or
mobile.
more covered in man. And if your wide receiver can't create separation, Jordan Love knows not to throw the ball. And I don't blame him for not getting rid of it.
Most
throwing
quarterbacks
it into coverage, you can throw it out of bounds. Like, you can get rid of it and not take a sack. But the fact that he's so used to looking for soft spots in his own D, and then when you have man and the guys can't get open, it's going to look really bad. Like, I don't know what Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur needs to do. Run more of these, like, natural pick plays or whatever they're called, like
Rub routes.
Rub routes, yeah.
Dry rub routes, north and south once again. Let's get the north and south playbook for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
All right.